Tuesday, November 12th, or any of the others. Approve them all, I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes. Russ?
Yeah.
You second it. All in favor of approving the minutes of all three minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. All right. Treasurer's report.
Claudia didn't have anything for those, everything's in balance, so.
Say it again.
She said she didn't have anything, everything's in balance, so.
When you said that, I thought you meant she didn't have any treasurer's report.
Oh, we have one. It's right here.
Motion to approve the treasurer's report. We have a motion, is there a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion, a second. Is there any questions concerning the question? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the treasurer's report, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. All right, we need to look at the bills. Need to review the bills before you do the packet. Entertain a motion to approve the bills. Entertain a motion to approve the bills. We have a motion, is there a second? We have a motion, a second. Is there any questions concerning any of the bills? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the bills, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The bills are approved. All right, public comment. I have a motion to allow for a public comment. We have a motion.
I'll second.
Holly, second. All in favor of public comments, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we'll open up for public comment. Who wants to go first here?
I guess I will.
All right.
I'm Rod Kopus, in case some of you don't know me. I'm here to give you a little information on the 911 charge that's been assessed. I'm going to kind of go back and give you just a little bit of a history. I'll try not to take too much of your time. November the 8th of '94 is when one vote, countywide, approved the 911 system. One vote, countywide. In January the 10th of '95, the county board established the 911 ETSB board. And that's when that started. ETSB is a county agency. It can't be sued by itself. It has no legal standing without the county. It is a county agency. Its financial responsibility is the county's. Because the county put it on the ballot, they accepted the 911 surcharge that the voters approved. They are fiscally responsible for 911. What does that encompass? And it says, under the administrative code, JCAR, it says the Emergency Telephone System Board in counties passing referendums and the chairman of the county board in counties implementing a 911 system shall be responsible to ensure that all areas of the county are served. So that speaks for itself. When you go to the Attorney General's opinion on fiscal responsibility, the Office of Attorney General in Opinion 96-0-38 stated, a single county emergency telephone system board, ETS board, is also a county agency. The Attorney General further stated as follows, the funding of the ETS board is also dependent on the county, since the board has no independent powers of taxation. After approval by referendum, the county is authorized to levy a surcharge for the 911 system. In conclusion, the Attorney General held, the fiscal relationship between the ETS board and the county is similar to that which exists between the county and other county agencies. Because of the extent of control which the county board exercises over a single, remember this is a single unit, a single county ETS board, through its powers to create the board, appoint its member, and control the level of funding, it's my conclusion that the board is an agency of the county. So then if you go, this is a letter that Nida Duval wrote at one point, right here it says, if at any time ETSB no longer has the money to operate, the 911 system will become the responsibility of the Iroquois County Board. So I guess then another question, I've been kind of hearing some rumors around that, well, if you don't pay, we're going to cut some of the services. If you go to another Attorney General's opinion and you read, it says, this is part of what, there were several questions asked in this AG's opinion. Quote, you have also inquired whether a 911 call is deemed to terminate upon the dispatch of an emergency unit or continues until the emergency unit which responds to the request for assistance completes its service. Subsection 725-505E of the Illinois Commerce Commission rules, the 1983 Illinois Administrative Code, provides that at such time as the telecommunicator verifies that the transfer has been completed and the telecommunicator's services are no longer required, the telecommunicator may manually release himself from the call, provided that the telephone equipment is so designed, quote, as used in the rules. The term transfer means a feature which allows the telecommunicators to transfer 911 calls to a specific location or a secondary PSAP, which we don't have in Iroquois County except as backups. So what it's saying is they have to follow through with the call. You can't not. Illinois is a Dillon's Rule state. Dillon's Rule says simply this. If the law doesn't allow you, as a governing body of any kind, to do something, you don't have the authority to do it. You have to be granted it by the legislature. Intergovernmental agreement. I'm going to read you the intergovernmental agreement because this is what the county is saying that you have to sign. This is out of the statute, Illinois revised statute. Pay attention to the wording. Any one or more public agencies may contract with any one or more other public agencies to perform any governmental service, activity, or undertaking which any of the public agencies entering into the contract is authorized by law to perform. That's the key point. You have to be authorized by law. What the county is doing is giving you a bill, but they have no statute that says they can. Mr. Devine sent a letter to the city of Gilman that says there's no statutory authority to issue the bill except the intergovernmental agreement. The intergovernmental agreement says you have to have statutory authority before you can issue the bill. My point would be, if you if you took this on just face value, let's just say it's a legitimate bill. What would stop the county at this point from issuing the entire amount of cost of 911 dispatch to divide it up between the people they say they serve? Just say, here's the bill and you pay it. Maybe they don't want to pay anything. Who's to say they can't raise it up and above and make money on it? And the reason is the law doesn't specify, it doesn't give them the authority to do that. If you look at the circuit clerk's office, circuit clerk probably has 30 to 40 fees that they charge. Every one of those is mandated by statute. You don't have the authority to do it unless the law grants it. Think about the county treasurer's office. She collects your tax bills. Is the county eligible to start, well, we're just going to bill you guys for collecting your taxes? No, you can't do it. It's regulated by law. The county can't show you where you have to pay the bill. They can't do it because they can't collect the money. Where did this all start? This started when I was township supervisor. Nida Duval sent a letter, actually, to the township, every township in Iroquois County. I got this thing right here. She said, right here is just, well, let's see. Onarga sent a bill for $8,330 in Onarga Township. Douglas Township in my town was sent a bill for $10,414. And she sent a letter along with it, and she says, you're going to pay this for dispatch services. And there's a meeting in the county boardroom. So I called the township attorney, which was Jim Hungate, and I said, I think you better show up over there with me. And I got up, and she gave her a big spiel, and she says, you're going to pay the bill. And Jim Tungate says, where's your statutory authority to collect the money? And that was the end of it. So what did she do? She just went to the towns and the fire departments and everybody else. So that's how this came about. Let me get back to my sheet here. Again, the key is they don't have the authority. Devine says they don't have the authority in the letter. He makes excuses about the intergovernmental agreement. But you both have to have the right to do what you're doing. One of the two parties has to have a right to do what you do in an intergovernmental agreement. You can't just take two parties and say, well, we're going to do something that nobody can do. It doesn't work that way. If you have the right to do something as the town board here, and the township has a right to do something that's a little different and it works together, you have a right to do that. You can enter into an intergovernmental agreement as long as one of the two bodies has the authority under law to do that. And remember, Jim Devine sent a letter to the city of Gilman. All you got to do is FOIA that. FOIA it from the county or the city. And it says they don't have the authority. So, again, you have to think about all of the other things about the county and how all those things are lined up where the charges are all by state law. They're not, the county doesn't have the authority to just start issuing these claims. So in closing, the county has no authority under the law to collect these additional fees, only those allowed by statute. The village has no authority under law to enter into an agreement when neither of the parties have statutory authority to do what the agreement calls for. The collection of this money is allowing the county to live above its legal fiscal limit. Because if you're not giving them the money, they have to pay that. They're required to pay it. It's their job. And so what they're doing is they spend more money because they're not in check. If 911, if the county attempts to limit the use of 911 equipment and personnel to dispatch emergency calls until completion, then there will be an avalanche of attorneys standing in line to put an end to such shenanigans. We all know that will happen. The county will lose. I suggest the county call their insurance carrier and ask them about what the insurance carrier thinks about what they're doing. 911 is a county agency. The county's financially responsible and should stop threatening local public safety agencies for not paying a false claim. Follow the law, not a feel-good rule that you just made up. Thank you.
John, I guess you're here to talk about that.
I think it's something that's done statewide. It's not, if what's being said is true, then somebody ought to get something more definitive about it, because the county is not only charging the money or wanting to charge the money that we don't, beyond what we don't have. And this has been going on for quite some time, but as I said, I know that other counties are doing the same thing because I've talked with them. And I've been told it's done statewide. If it's illegal, then somebody ought to get the whole state to stop doing it. We're following the advice that Mr. Devine has given us. That's what our obligation is to do. And I don't think that and it isn't something that somebody is charging you for. It's an agreement between the two parties. And I don't think there is anything illegal about that. We have many county agencies that enter into intergovernmental agreements all the time. Our health department, for example, has agreements with the schools to provide nurses.
Does anybody have any questions for either one of them?
Yeah, I have one. I mean, I'm kind of confused there, you know, but I mean, I was told by an individual that if we don't pay this, that the county is going to sit there and we have to designate somebody. If we have a call and designate somebody in our community to dispatch out, you know, emergency call. It's just like the county got everything set up there. But you tell me Onarga or Gilman or any other community has that kind of equipment, that thing, and then if we don't do it and somebody dies, then the village of Onarga is going to be responsible.
So has there been a threat not to provide service?
That's what the way I understood it. If we don't sign this, they're going to limit it. Way I heard, well, they're going to limit to the communities, and we have to provide a designated person or two people. So if we get a call, that person got to basically page out either our police department or our fire department or the ambulance service, whoever
Where did
provides.
you hear this from? We gotten a letter, an official
No, that's
letter?
what I was just, you know, but I'm just saying, I don't know whether it's truth or whether it's fact. That's what I'm asking.
Yes. Go ahead.
I guess to add to that, I can tell you unequivocally that the county doesn't want to do anything that's illegal. That's why I say, if this is something that's illegal, it goes far beyond here, and it ought to be established and determined on that basis. Because, again, our obligation is to follow the advice of our state's attorney, and that's what we've done here.
Well, Rod, you
This
see
is
a
a
letter from the
this-
same state's attorney
The
that,
state's attorney sent a letter to the city of Gilman that says there's no statute that allows the county to bill for 911 services or dispatch services. There's no statute.
so
He
you can
goes
get a
on to
copy of
ref-
that letter and give it to Jim Devine and see.
Jim Devine's got a copy, he wrote it.
I think
Jim
you need to
Devine
answer
wrote the
the
letter.
second question. Can there be an intergovernmental agreement that allows parties to do something that neither one of them has the power to
No,
do?
and that's the whole point, and that's why it's, when Devine admits that the county has to have, the state has to give them, the legislature has to give them the authority to charge. They don't have that authority, so you can't enter into the intergovernmental agreement unless, if they had the authority, if the state said you can charge for dispatch services, the county, it's not in the county code. You can't bill if it's not there, and that's what they're doing. So you guys can't enter into an agreement with them because they don't have the authority to collect the money, and you don't have the authority to pay them because your municipal code don't allow you to pay for dispatch services to the county. And it was a 911 system, where a lot of people get confused about 911 issues is, there are fees associated with things, but what's happened is, Kankakee, different areas have where there were several individual 911 units that were passed individually, like in a town, they would pass their 911, and another town would pass one, and then at some point they joined those together because it made financial responsibility to join them together, have one system that worked good. So that's a little different system. That's called joint dispatch. That's something we never had here, but they all talk about joint dispatch. But what that allows them to do then is they contract with each individual entity for fees to run the thing. That's how that works. This is one system. There's no joint dispatch here. The county can't bill under the Intergovernmental Agreement Act, and that's what Mr. Devine bases his theory on, that this agreement is an intergovernmental agreement. You can't do it because you don't have the authority to collect the money.
Yes.
Yeah, my name's Kirk Allen. I'm with the Edgar County Watchdogs. To address your comment, I'm a fire chief downstate. I've had several people statewide that have contacted us on this type of thing. I've had several in regards to Iroquois County. I don't know who has actually made the comments of, hey, if they don't pay it, they're not going to get the service, but it's been echoed many times because they basically asked us to look into it. My history with 911, I started the Edgar County Watchdogs with John in 2010 over a 911 issue. I know this inside and out. There's not one element of it I can't answer a question for you. And I can tell you, back to what Mr. Devine said, there was at a point where 911 had their own private attorney. We stopped that because the county is required to have representation by the state's attorney. Individual agencies can't go and hire their own private counsel, but that's what they were doing. And we got it stopped because there was no provision in the law for them to do that. When Nida Dubel tried to have her contract renewed, we got it stopped because there was no provision for her to have the contract in the first place. And I've got another legal opinion on that if you're issuing any more contracts for those positions. The law doesn't give you the power to do that. The law is real simple, and there's a simple question you can ask, says who with what proof. Before you ever vote on anything, ask yourself, where in the law does it give me permission to do this? It's a simple question. There's no permission for them to send a bill to anybody for 911. Their permission was to have a bill attached to a phone line. That's where their money comes from. That's the only permission they've got to raise funding. That money goes to operate 911. If you were to get a bill and pay it, that falls, and ask your attorneys this falls under a false claim. Because now, that's recoverable with treble damages as a False Claim Act. Because that's a bill that was never appropriately allowed. And when it gets paid out, that money can be recoverable. But more importantly, it's double taxation. Because now the people of your community are paying for 911 service on their phone, and then you're going to take money out of whatever coffers you have and pay more. So they got hit twice for the same system. That's not proper. And I haven't read Mr. Devine's letter, but all too often we see agencies say, well, it's an intergovernmental agreement. You can enter into intergovernmental agreements. You can do that, but you can only exercise the power that either entity has. They have to have the power to do that. So whatever they want to do in that agreement, if you have that power and you have a different power, either one of you can exercise it. You can exercise his and you can exercise hers. That's how intergovernmental agreements work, but there is no explicit power anywhere for them to send you a bill. Now, it's happening all over the state. No, it's not. Edgar County hasn't done it, never will. Why? Because we've laid down the foundation as to why it's illegal to do it. As far as other places that are doing it, the lawyers, I've been drafting the paperwork for a statewide False Claims Act for a while because it's a problem in about 14 counties that we've identified. It's not a statewide issue that it's happening. There's places that it is happening because we just do what we've always done, and nobody really looked into, hey, what's the way we're supposed to do it? Now, the Illinois State Police is taking over 911 in one more year. They may or may not sunset, or bump that back again. I think it was 3 years ago they were supposed to take it over and they weren't ready. This is going to be a problem for the state of Illinois. It's not going to be a problem for the county. They have to report their finances. It's all online, and they're supposed to be taking care of the operation of the system. They still haven't figured out how they're going to pay for dispatchers, though. They've got a bigger mess on their hands, and that was an entirely political thing to generate money for Chicago that bumped their 911 fees on their phone service, I believe, up to $9 or $11 a line. It was a bailout for the city of Chicago, but it impacted everybody statewide because now the state police is going to be in control of it. I can tell you, if you move forward and do make those type of payments, the community will be added to the list of false claims because you have no authority to pay that kind of bill. Now, if someone can show you a statute, a citation that says, here's the power we have under Dillon's rule, it's real clear, says here you can do it, I'm all ears, but you won't find it. It's not in there. It's not in there. It's very similar if somebody gets in a wreck in a parking lot. Well, the vehicle code doesn't give you the power to write tickets on private property for an accident, correct? This is the same thing. You have to look at the law and apply specific to that situation. And I can tell you this has been an ongoing battle. Here in Iroquois County, we've had this discussion many times. Not one time has Mr. Devine ever been able to show the statute, and I'm glad to hear that he put in the letter, it's not in the statute. That's all you need to know. Before you can get ever past anything else, you have to say, where is it in the law? Because you can't create something based on an excuse. You got to identify the power. There is no such power, not for them to bill and not for you to pay it, because you're already paying it with every phone line you got. And with that, that's all I have. Thank you.
So it seems like to me you ought to be addressing this at the county board.
It is the county board's responsibility, 100%. 100%. And by not funding it and taking care of the problem, it allows the county to expend more money than legally they're really entitled to, because you guys are giving them your money, all these other fire districts, and everybody's handing their money to them, which doesn't hold their budget to the actual true level that it should be at. Yes, it's a tough decision, I get it. I've been there, I know. But what's right's right, and what's wrong is wrong, and this is wrong.
Well, the only thing I got to say, as a member of the board, I'm not speaking for the rest of them. I mean, this is basically way over my head, because the thing is, I'm here for the people of the village of Onarga. I want the best safety, I want the best means entering, and I want to, I just want to know whether or not I'm speaking on myself and not as the other board members, but I'm also speaking to you, John, just like you said. Is it legal or not legal? But I don't want to put our people in harm's way, and all of a sudden we don't pay, and all of a sudden come down and all of a sudden tell us that, you're going to have to find another way to, dispatch our police officer out. We're going to have to find a way to have somebody dispatch, our medical facility out, or dispatch our fire department out. Because I don't want to see anybody put in harm's way. But I also look at it as if it's what's right is right, if it's wrong is wrong. But I mean, I keep hearing so much, and I hear all these things out there. I have no idea what's true or what ain't true. I listen to both sides here, and the thing is, I feel when it was started up that when we came out, my landline and cell phone that were paid to the county. We passed a referendum, for, to add more money, public safety thing. The way I understood, that was supposed to help the county. So the people of Iroquois County passed it. Now where that money went, whether it went to 911 or not, I don't know. But the thing is there, is I want the answer there, is that in our community, we ain't got much revenue. and we got a sewer system that we got shafted on. I know that don't have anything to do with it, but it's taking extra money. We got a police force that we're trying to keep going. I have concerns there, you know, when our police officer gets paged out, where's the liability whenever he leaves the community and he goes dispatch out for the county to back up the county, and he has a wreck or somebody is the village of Onarga gonna be liable, or is the county gonna be liable?
We're getting off track here.
Well, it's all falls underneath the category of who's responsible and what's our obligation.
All right, any other public comment? Yes, John.
I guess I'd just like to say that, again, that we're not interested in doing anything illegal. The telephone surcharge is nowhere near enough to pay the cost of providing the telecommunicators in this county. Now, all that being said, I consider these three gentlemen here to be my friends. I've worked with them on many issues in the past. I don't like being embarrassed in public, and I don't understand why they don't come and sit down with me and Mr. Devine and get this worked out. And I think that's the right way to do it, like you suggested, Shane.
Right,
I don't think this is the right forum for it at all.
This is not the place to
No.
do this.
And I'm
And we already voted
disappointed
not
that
to
they
pay it
would do
anyway.
this.
Pardon?
We already voted not to pay it anyway.
Oh, you guys already have voted on that?
Yes.
I was under the impression that that was possibly something that was gonna happen today.
No,
The,
No,
that happened, what?
last meeting.
Yeah.
Last meeting.
Smart move.
Well, is there any way, like John says, is there any way that you guys could set up a meeting where you could sit down with John and just take your turn in?
Oh, I'd have no problem doing that. In fact, I've talked with Divine over the years many times on this issue, and there's a resistance to just simply follow the law. Now, in Edgar County, we don't bill any of our emergency agencies. Our whole county's 18,000 people. We've got 15 townships. Our dispatchers work for the sheriff, and our 911 money subsidizes the dispatching side for 911 calls. Many counties do it that way. There's a simple solution. The challenge has been in the past, and I don't know where that may or may not be now, but the sheriff wanted no part of having control of dispatchers. I don't know whether that's an option. There's plenty of options.
They used to do the dispatching many years ago.
Yeah. You know, it's back to the simple question, where in the laws that give you the power? And to address your concern, I'll be happy to get you an answer, a statutory answer. When a 911 call comes in, they are obligated by law to dispatch the appropriate agency for that call.
Because I was on the county board when we enacted the 911. And prior to that, the sheriffs handled the call. And City of Watsika did their own calls. Anyway, all right, is there anything else? We've already voted, and so we're just gonna move on here, so thank you, but, yeah, John, I mean, we didn't feel like, last meeting we discussed it, we didn't feel like you had the authority from what we could figure out, so show us and we'll pay, you know, we'd be happy to pay, so. We realize we need the service, and somehow it's gotta get paid for, so. All right, do we need a motion to get out of it? All right, we'll move along. John, I might say, we had that meeting on getting properties put on the tax rolls. Do you know if that ever got done?
No.
Did? Okay, thank you.
Can I say public comment about a different subject? I've been thinking about whether to bring it up or not, but I'm gonna bring it up. I would ask that your police department, if say the library director complains about some lady that shows up to a meeting, that the police officer actually review the audio from the meeting before he goes to the lady's house and accuses her of disrupting a meeting and causing a disturbance and stalking people, because that's not what she did. But he went to her house and accused her of that. That didn't happen. I understand she goes to every meeting, so be it. That's her right to go to a meeting. Say what she wants, sit outside on the
Yeah,
street in her car after the
we've looked
meeting.
into that, we've already settled this, so we're gonna move on.
Oh, you've
All
already
right.
settled it?
Well, maybe not with her, but yeah, we've talked about it. All righty, but thank you for coming.
Do you have anything?
I believe I have a line item on your agenda to speak. I think that would be there. Okay. If I may back you up then. My name is Eric Raymond. I'm the 911 director. Also ETS director as Nettie Doodle's replacement after she had retired in 2016. I've been with 911 now for just a shade over 2 years. And I do have some materials for all of you to review. First, I have business cards for all of you. Feel free to take one. If anybody wants to come in and visit my 911 center, you're more than welcome if you ever have any questions as to the goings-on of 911. Also, I'm going to pass around some materials as well, if you could all please take one. The first is a bullet point listing. And this bullet point listing, per Jim Devine, our state's attorney, anything listed in red, if continue to decline for the services, will not be available. The biggest concern that Chief Brenner, myself, or any officer within this county is, it's number one, a public safety issue. And then equally as important, and right next to it, is officer safety. This is one situation where we can't afford it.
So you say you want to collect the illegal payments?
I am not saying,
Is that what you're telling us?
I cannot say that it is illegal or
Well, that's what we have
otherwise.
to find out, I guess.
Mr.
So,
Colpus has given you plenty of facts. Our state's attorney believes that it is a service that can be billed. To get down to the bottom of it, I'm not qualified to answer that question.
We're not either, so let's move on.
That's
We
all I'm
appreciate-
providing for you is just materials for your review. The letter is essentially what you're reading in a bullet point version. It's just much longer for any of you to read. It'll give a little bit better review. And of course, if any of you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'll be happy to answer anything I can about 911.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right,
Extra copy? Thank you.
now that closes public comment. We'll go to review of correspondence.
I just have a thank you note from Mona Gertis.
Anything in red?
For the plant we
Anything
sent.
that's listed in red as an opportunity to...
All right, are we ready for the gas tax ordinance?
Both of them are not done, so.
All right, standing committees, 9-1, Parks and Recreation. Ally?
Farm lease, everybody's got the agreement, leaves the same, numbers look good.
And it's what, a 3-year agreement? How long is it doing?
3 years.
We got to cover on the swimming pool.
Did we get it done?
It's all completed.
Very good. The cover is done and completed on the pool.
And it looks very nice. If you guys get a chance, you need to go out there. If you haven't seen it, take a look at it. There it
We
is.
saw it the other day.
You need a
Thank you,
second
Russ.
for that.
We need a second for these, please.
All right. We have a motion and a second to approve the Parks and Recreation Committee meeting. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Committee. All right.
Can you guys bring the board? No.
So we have the farm lease before us. The committee is recommending to approve it.
Is this?
Yeah, that's it.
This is it.
Yeah, this is.
So how much an acre is that? You know, have you figured that out? You figure it out?
No, I don't, I'm sorry. Give you that tax bill, but I don't remember what it said.
Who's got a calculator?
How many acres is it?
It's 233 acres.
I did it backwards, hold on. 233?
Mhm.
647? Any? No.
No, that'd be right.
What, 239?
233 acres.
Did you take the total number? Right?
No,
Yeah.
probably for the year.
Okay, there we go. So I can take the.
They gotta get loose, edits where they can, where they can.
I think that's fair. It's not very good ground over there anyway.
Yeah, that's kind of what I don't
I think you really come down with, it's a one situation, because you're putting people in harm's way.
Yeah, you did the 150 at the end, which is a 3-year total.
That's all right.
All right, entertain a motion to approve the farm contract. Okay, second, Holly, second. Is there any questions? It's how much an acre? 215?
215, 213.
This would be for a 3-year agreement. I think it's Anderson,
215.92.
who's farmed it for years. Hearing no comment, all in favor of approving the contract, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Anything else, Holly? Infrastructure, Fred.
Kinda good.
You've got two,
Yes.
he's got two
Two things.
meetings, November 25th and December 3rd meetings need to be approved. He's made a motion, is there a second?
I'll say it.
There's a motion, a second, is there any comment? All right, all in favor of approving the minutes of the two meetings, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved.
The first meeting was to basically get bids taken and open on the sidewalk project uptown. Get the bid from Crane Concrete and Construction, met with Jim Claridge, defined everything, and also met or approved the railings from
Gilgading.
however you pronounce that.
Yeah, good boy.
Yeah. Made sure everything was in compliance, everybody understood everything. We can begin as soon as the area is cleared by the building owner, and I think you went and had a.
Yeah, I went up
About
there,
that.
just to we went up there, I had just talked with Lyle. He's trying to get, well, if you notice, he's finally moving up in the air and pretty well got everything ready. Got a little bit more to go to pour. Once he gets that poured, I did talk to him, he was a little upset, but I did talk to the concrete guy that got the bid, which he's doing the floor, and he has no problem waiting till Lyle get that poured to put his structure with the roof on there. Once he gets the structure roof, which will clear the outside edge there, so then he can come in and do some work, even though with, when weather permitted, may not be able to pour, but at least prepare it. I dig, on that too,
What's our liability with no? Is there any problems with not having the sidewalk completed?
No,
Wait till
because
spring?
basically it falls, and it's his building site, and it falls underneath him, and Jim sent him a thing that he's supposed to secure the area.
I've seen some paper around the barrels or something now, right?
Right, and, but I did, Jim, our building inspector, he sent a letter, and as long as I know he's got, I'll check, make sure he sent it, and he got a copy, to take, his responsibilities to secure the building site area. And that too, so, and that's basically there, it's basically right now, it's in Clary's hand there, because that's what, he's the building inspector, and then, he's got and I told him he needs to monitor that, and he told me, and I'll double check, that he sent a letter, stating, that he needs to, secure the area, for safety because, it's his.
And this project's already been approved, right? We've already
Yeah.
approved it to go ahead and do that.
And so he had no problem, when he gets done, he can come in and do the other.
All right, what else you got?
We also met with Neil Pagage on December 3rd and basically discussed the Evergreen project and the Jackson Street water main issue. Basically what we did with Neil, we brought attention to, we have some water line issues because stuff the mains on the east side of the road, correct?
Correct.
And we have to go down deep enough because the tile for the drainage is going to be down the center of that street because there's too much infrastructure on each side. So we're going to have to lower some of the water mains, correct? And sewer lines. And the 2-inch line feeding the school, we cannot shut off, correct? The valve is bad. So are we going to cap off that old one and put a new tap onto the main, correct?
Yes.
That's what he suggested.
And any lead line that we come across, we have to replace.
Correct. And do we have any?
Does the school, are they able to shut it off inside? Does anybody ever check with them?
Yes.
They can.
Yes.
Are we, did you say we were leaking a little bit maybe from that main or no? No, okay.
But you say when they do this, we'll have the capability of putting a new line in and we'll be able to shut it off.
And
Correct.
he said he stubs it to their property line, correct?
Correct.
Yes. And also gas lines are gonna have to be lowered too. Basically, it's just the fact that everything that's gonna have to go underneath that drainage line that's in the middle of the street. Also on that, we discussed, I questioned him, he has in his bid for tree removal. And there is more trees down there that needs to be removed than what he showed on the bid. And Tim and I had discussed it a little bit, and I questioned him on it, and Tim had actually contacted Matt Price to go down and take a look. Tim marked the other trees that are all bad too, along the right of way. I think what we should do is pull that off the line item through Neil's bid and just let Matt take care of it, because it's gonna be cheaper anyway. And that's $21,000 we won't have to borrow, or we can use it elsewhere that needs, like for pushing these water mains down and stuff like
Well, I
that.
agree there, 'cause like I say, it's better to use our local and, like I say,
That way it's more in our control too, for the fact that they're not wasting their time cutting down trees. Matt can work on it.
well, Matt's gonna be a whole lot cheaper than what they are.
Well,
Plus we can get on that.
And plus we can get on.
Street project here this
Yeah,
morning.
and Matt, the last time we cleaned up behind him, he made us a pretty good deal.
Right. And we worked together on the tree removal.
Well, that's what, we did on these other ones and everything worked out good.
I don't understand what tree removal would be doing in there anyway, because they're putting everything down the center of the road.
Now they still gotta work in the right of way for the gutters and curbing and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, there is still some. And also on the Jackson, basically that was about it for the Evergreen project. Like I say,
When are bids going out?
March now?
March at the latest.
March at the latest. He's hoping for February, but he thinks more like March, I think.
Because of IDOT.
Because of IDOT, yes.
IDOT had some more things that he was waiting on, so it's probably gonna be more late.
Some material and some other things. The Jackson water main, basically everything with CN sounds like it's worked out. I'm 100% sure, but the other thing that he did was he showed us on that total amount. We have paperwork here. There's like $211,000 total cost on that. And what he's doing is working. It's not really a grant; it's a revolving loan fund to basically have 60% of the total cost forgiven. So all we'd have to finance out of a $211,000 project would be like $84,000. He thinks we qualify for that, but we'll just have to wait and see. But he's pretty sure that we qualify for that.
Just gotta have it.
Did he need us to approve starting an
Yes,
application? Right, okay.
Yeah,
I have that,
actually-
had it down, but I only,
Yes.
Yeah, it's on
So
here.
it's on here. Somewhere on this paperwork here. So,
All right, so I entertain a motion to approve the application of the
Yes.
EPA for the
yes,
revolving loan fund.
correct.
You're making that
Yes, I'm
motion,
making
is there a second?
oh,
second it.
oh, sorry.
All right, we have a motion and
Oh,
second.
yeah,
Is there any,
second.
is there any questions? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Anything else?
Also, these two things here, one of them is for the Illinois Department Transportation Request for Expenditure for Authorization of Motor Fuel Tax Funds in the amount of $4,164.89.
You make that motion?
Making a motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
The motion is to expend $4,164.89 out of motor fuel tax. I suppose that goes to Neil for. Any other questions? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And one other bill is for the water main project for applying for the revolving loan fund. And the amount of that is $7,080.
And you making that motion?
Yes, I am.
All right.
Did you all this one?
Is there a second?
But he's saving us $120,000 if it goes.
I $60.
Second?
Second.
All right. We have a motion and a second.
Oh,
This is for
Take
how
that.
much? $7,000?
$7,080.
Motor fuel tax. Any questions? All in favor of the motion say aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
expensive tonight.
I try to be.
Every time, Wes, anytime we bought a tractor
Anything
or
else?
something.
I'm
Alrighty.
spending enough money tonight, I think I'm pretty, just gonna stay quiet.
Okay, safety, security, enforcement, Russ.
I want to do that in executive session.
All right. Finance, Sarah.
I have a meeting from December 3rd, minutes of the town.
All right. Sarah makes a motion to approve the minutes. Is there a second?
I'll look at it.
All right, Holly second. All in favor of approving the minutes of the finance meeting from December 3rd, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved.
So we sat down and talked about the AT&T bill, and reviewed all of those, and kind of came up with plans. So currently, for phone services, since in the fiscal year so far, we've paid $11,424.77.
Wow.
For phone services. So we kind of looked at that. I
So
did a
that's
little.
less than half a year.
Yeah, May to now. The internet is actually fairly reasonable, they're about like $60 a month, all the places that we have internet, Village, sorry,
You
let me
need
grab my
internet in
notes.
all the places you have it.
Village, water and sewer is where we have it, and we need it at all three of those places, but they're only $62 a month. That's actually really pretty in line with what internet bills are. So we sat down and went through the AT&T phone lines that we have. So right now, it varies between place to place, but we're paying for each line about $127 to $147 a month each line that we have. It's coded as a business, either A or B, depending on where we are. And we're paying about 60 to 50 to 20, depending on where it is in long distance. So I went on AT&T's site, like just to kind of see what current rates and stuff are, and there's provisions in there of like local government agencies or like specific, so like for our park building or for the water department, like specific, I forget the term now, I think I wrote it down. Special districts, which would be sewer, park, utilities. So they wouldn't give you an online price, but you can call into that and explain like what you are. So right now we're paying business services. We think that we could probably even adjust that because I don't think that that's accurately reflected as to what we're using it for. Because we're local government or special district. But we can cut some lines. We have one line here that's at the water desk. So we could cut it. So we'd have the village, the police specific, because I know police needs its own line, and then the fax number. But we have an additional one that was to the water desk, so we can eliminate that one. Sewer needs all the lines that it has right now.
No,
Oh, did you look into that more enough?
yeah, we had one crossed off there, 4190.
But I thought that that was connected to the
The
internet.
4191's connected to the internet.
So the 4190, we can get rid of it. Never mind. Then streets and sidewalk has a phone, but we don't need it. Water department has a phone line and it doesn't need to be there. So we can eliminate some of them and I hope that we can then adjust some of those rates to lower that. The question I had is the park and pool has one right now. I feel like if we could get it listed as a special district and that's a better price, I'd like to keep it. Someone suggested maybe just designating it as a 911 line. I'm not on the park and pool committee, so I kind of wanted to ask your guys' input on that one.
I don't know, I feel more comfortable we kept a line there. Don't you?
Yeah.
Because right now, it's without tax, we pay $186 a month for the pool line.
Yeah, I hate to think, but you know.
I hope that though, if we kind of get it identified correctly as a special district, that should go down. So if we can negotiate it, I would like to keep it, but I also didn't know if there's no negotiating on the line or whatever, I don't know.
Well, if
I
there's
feel
no,
there's
even if there's no negotiation, when we get that
Or is
big
it
kid.
something we keep,
I mean, we
we
only
mess
use it
around
3
with-
months a year, you know, it's
do we
sitting
just
there.
kind of sign it up for, the 3
We're paying 12
months
months.
and
Well, I
then it
mean-
goes away on the?
Could we disconnect it when the pool's closed?
Yeah, is there a way to suspend a phone line, disconnect it?
To be honest, I haven't had a
Just for
landline in a
911.
really long time, so I'm
Designated
not.
straight 911.
How much it's gonna how much it'll actually cost you for the phone carrier, I could not answer that. I can tell you there's a $1.50 911 surcharge that's attached to it. Every phone bill, cell phone or landline.
I didn't know about the 911 line, I was wondering why.
So I think that basically I just kind of wanted to kind of go over what we reviewed and what we find. I don't necessarily have the full, except the ones that we can eliminate, unless anybody really feels differently about the eliminating
No, that's great, thank you.
landlines,
I
but,
think you've done a great job.
so I was gonna have, Samantha, contact AT&T and
See what
see
you
the
can do.
painful process of working, kind of sorting out the bills and maybe trying to get it, classified, right? Because right now we're classified as business, but they have really specific local government and special districts, which I think are more
Probably
accurate to what
higher
we
when
are.
we investigate it.
Huh?
It's probably be higher.
Well, I know, that was I don't know, because what they determine it at, but, it's worth question asking, I guess. Because whenever I looked at quotes now for what they do, like long distance is all included in that, yet we're paying
We're paying
additional $60 is the highest here at the village, or $65, $50 at the sewer for long distance. So, I think that there could be some adjustments.
Well, I think you did a fantastic job, and I think, you follow up on it, and then we can discuss what we're gonna do with the other.
Well, as long as you're okay, I mean, I don't know that we need to, I don't know if we need a vote on it or whatnot to go ahead and have Samantha make those changes, so. And then once we get the new bills, we'll let everybody know, but I don't know if that needs to be voted on.
I vote we remove 4 phone lines.
You know, how about you make a motion?
I motion we remove 4 phone lines.
I'll second.
1, 2, 4.
Is there any questions? Then all in favor of removing the phone lines, say
Once
aye.
we do, I'll let you know. Aye, sorry.
Opposed?
That way you can update the website. If some of those ones are listed
Okay.
All right,
on there, so once we do.
move on to the audit.
Some of the things that they noted in here, I think that is, from last year to this year, I saw some continuations. There's one specifically about the pool and the expenditures from there, but I think with Becky, coming on as our pool manager, that one should be addressed, will be addressed because, so I guess for the pool committee, just so you know, anytime, once we get closer to that, but, money coming in from concessions and stuff, there weren't checks and balances between the park coordinator and the treasurer and the money, like basically just accountability for what money was coming, inventory of the concessions versus then what was being deposited into the account.
Well, I think since we got Becky on there, and I think we got off on a bad start with the addition of the pool, and so I think
Yeah, but
hopefully,
Becky's gonna need to know what needs to happen. Somebody's gonna have to.
Yeah, so there needs to be inventory, so, you know, whenever we get closer to it or whatnot, I guess maybe we can address it, but, you know, she needs to inventory the concessions, the money, basically account for all of that, so running an inventory list, okay, we sold this much, and then bringing this, we're probably most likely working with Samantha then to relay that information to.
And one thing, we
Claudia.
donated all our candy to it was left over to the Santa Claus train.
Well, yeah, this was one that was from last year, and then our pool wasn't even open, so I feel like it just probably, to be honest, got left in there. I'm just kind of covering the ones that they identified as, significant. Basically, we just need to put some more places in reviewing, so like water bills. So Samantha can be one that, when she takes that over, Tim can kind of, just some checks and balances with money coming in and coming out, is the way that I read that.
I'd like to see dual control.
There were some things that were in here, but that they were fixed by Claudia. I meant to check with her about the social security fund, item. The appropriations ones too. You work with that one, do you?
Yeah, and I've asked Neil about that, if we really need to put it on the appropriations, and he said it's not required, so I will talk with Sherilyn on that and see what exactly she wants us to do.
Okay. And the appropriations as a whole, I said it was, that there weren't a lineup between actually what we spent versus what we had put in our appropriations ordinance.
Oh, I've seen that one too, but yeah.
I meant to ask Claudia about the other ones, so. That was kind of what I had noted in my thoughts on some of those were getting addressed with just having Samantha in here working with Claudia, and then Tim would be able to review the water bills because he's not doing all of it now, somebody else will be, so. So some of those things will be addressed, a couple of them I need to follow up with on Claudia.
All right. You wanna make a motion to approve the audit?
I'll make a motion. I don't know, does anybody else have any other questions, or?
We can get a motion in a second, then we can answer questions.
Sorry.
All right, we have a motion in a second. All right, is there anything else we need to talk about? As far as the audit, she's gone over most of the things with the problems that the auditor found. Nothing really earth shaking.
No.
All right, hearing nothing, all in favor of approving the audit, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Audit is approved. All right, you want to adopt some resolutions? Are we ready for that?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you say wake up? Yeah, so to add Samantha Sansoni onto the Federated and the Forest Bank accounts. I don't know
That's a
that there's
motion.
really much yeah, I'll make a motion for those.
Second.
Do we have to do them separate?
Yeah.
Sorry. I'll make a
You're
motion
fine.
to put Samantha Sansoni on the Federated Bank.
Does that have to be roll call?
Yes.
We have a motion in a second.
Second.
Okay, Walraven.
Aye.
Zirkle.
Aye.
Barnett.
Aye.
Raby.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
Geisler.
Aye.
All right, 9.43.
Make a motion to add Samantha Sansoni to, the First State Bank of Forest Village account.
Is there a second? Are there any questions concerning adding her to the account just so she can sign checks?
Walraven.
Aye.
Zirkle. Aye. Barnett.
Aye.
Raby.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
Geisler.
Motion
Aye.
passed. All right, and we talked about the AT&T building. That was a good
Yeah, we
job
already
on
did
that.
that,
We've been,
Gotta get fast.
That's quite staggering when we looked at, like I looked at 11.
Yeah.
mind-boggling. Anything else, Sarah?
No, I don't.
All right, thank you. All righty, Angie, local and intergovernmental communications,
No, no.
nothing. Russ, building standards.
I'd like to approve our minutes that we had on December the 3rd.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved.
Basically, I want to go back to when we talked about silent. I did contact our Nathan, which does the demolition. I told him I wanted to get the rest of that debris picked up and hauled out of there, and I figure after tonight I'm going to call and see when he can get that done. With the ground supposed to be real cold, hopefully he can get in there, get it picked up and take it wherever he's got to take it. But the other thing, we had opened up the bids on the house on 208 North Oak Street to be tore down. And Lee Excavation bid was $10,400. Fairleys was $24,500, and Nathan, BC Demo was $7,800. That's to tear down, remove a full tree behind. Remove a full tree behind the house and cut off some of the extended limbs over there, so, it's out of the way for the property. And I talked with Tim, and as soon as I want to have a meeting tonight, so we've already approved it, we've talked about it, but I just wanted to, I get the demo man there where he'll work with Tim on, taking out what he has to do with the sewer and everything else. All the utilities and everything has been taken out and pretty much all ready to go there, And does anybody have any questions on pursuing that?
My question is, what happened to the Farley's?
Well, he's got,
It's in the field.
he's in the field and they was really, like I say, all the farming pretty much in operation, they was just got it up there, and I think that they just, or if they get it,
If they get it, then woo!
they'll go, but otherwise. So that's where the bids are. I just felt that, all these people there, and I talked to two others, but they never gave me no bid, but these people have done business in Onarga, and I just felt it was fair to do a sealed bid and give each one an opportunity there, and I appreciate, them doing it. I just want to give an update on the Ferry House, which is on Roosevelt there, I don't know if you guys been watching the papers there. I talked with Susan. They did the legal thing there, and put in there. It goes to court on December the 20th, so we'll find out, the status on where we're at with that after a long period of time. And then we also talked about, used to be the grocery store or restaurant up Martinez there, I know Jim Clary sent out letters to the tax buyers, stating, the condition and everything else on that. And he, as at the present time, he has not got no response back. As far as Garcia's, Doug gotta go to court tomorrow on the condition of that property again. I thought I'd wait till after his court date, because right now she's standing with $2,800, give or take, that she owed from the last deal. And so we'll find out what happens on this before, we can pursue that any farther. So basically, then we adjourn the meeting at 6:25. So if anybody got any questions on any of them, there it's just,
Do you want us to approve the expenditure or the?
well, yeah, it'd be nice, or, I think we did it once, but it wouldn't hurt to approve it. On the tearing down the demo house.
Yeah, for $7,800.
Right.
You want to make that motion?
I make the motion, we accept the demo man for $7,800,
That's pretty reasonable, I think.
Well, that's to tear the whole house down and fill in, tear all the concrete out, take down the full tree, which is a good sized tree, and then trim up the other one, and backfill it with.
Is there a second? We have a motion and a second. All in favor of spending the $7,800 to get rid of the house, say aye. Opposed? Motion is approved. Anything else, Russ?
That's it.
You're spending money too.
Yeah, mine's not as high as yours.
What can I say?
All right, TIF committee, we don't have anything, litigation, haven't heard anything, so, old business, we got any old business you wanna bring up? New business?
I think there's something we said was old business at one of our meetings, but I don't remember now. Don't wait on me, I've been working.
She's sleeping.
No, I'm trying to really do a little memory recall.
All right, do we need to go to an executive session?
Yes,
And what will that be for?
safety, public safety meeting.
Well, we wouldn't say it out of executive session.
All right, so we're gonna go
For the
into
reason of 9.3.1.
to discuss personnel and the
Yes.
personnel,
Yeah.
public safety. All right, is there a motion to go into executive session? I got a second? What's
We
that?
gotta-
He motioned. He seconded. What's that?
We gotta keep everybody out of here.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why it's executive session.
Yeah, well, we haven't voted on it yet.
He made the motion, I'll second it.
All right, all in favor of going into executive session, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.